citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack.
Here at the 9/11 Memorial at the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, just 500 feet from us, one of the most horrific events of terrorism occurred. On September 11, 2001, 4 airplanes were hijacked by 19 militants as a part of an operation conducted by the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda. This attack was led by Osama bin Laden and killed almost 3,000 people, including 343 firefighters.
Life just kind of changed at that moment. Life would never be the same. Some of the naiveness that we had was completely shattered that day.
It cost approximately $500,000 to plan and execute the attack on the U.S., but it cost the U.S. millions and millions of dollars to recover from the damage.
The overall end goal of the attack was to reduce the United States' support for Middle Eastern regimes. Bin Laden hoped that without the help of America, Arab regimes would not be able to support themselves and therefore collapse, allowing Arab leaders to be replaced by Taliban-style rulers.
Since Al-Qaeda couldn't defeat the United States militarily, they attacked symbols of safety to inspire fear inside the minds of Americans and to show us that we are not as safe as we think we are. After the planes crashed into the Pentagon and the Twin Towers, the FAA grounded all flights coming into the United States for the first time in history. Of the 4 planes, 2 crashed into the Twin Towers in New York City, destroying the 2 buildings and killing thousands of people.
Turn on the TV, there's something going on. We think a plane hit the World Trade Center. And so I'm sitting there watching and I said, yeah. I said, a plane did hit it.
The third plane was repossessed by the passengers of the plane and crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing everyone on board. The intended target for this plane was the United States Capitol. The 4th plane, at 9:37 a.m., collided with the south wall of the Pentagon, and at the end of the attack, 184 men, women, and children have been killed in the Pentagon.
We are standing where the rubble that spilled from the building fell after the impact. The plane hit the Pentagon between corridor numbers 4 and 5 and collided with 3 of the 5 rings that surrounded each wing of the Pentagon. After the collision, the wing erupted into flames, making rescue initiatives high at risk.
Surprisingly, many occupants of the building were unaware of what had occurred and did not know that a plane had crashed into the building. This was aided by the fact that half of the Pentagon actually went without damage. The night after the attack, George W. Bush addressed the nation and declared that the United States and its allies would stand together to fight terrorism around the globe.
Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror.
The 9/11 attacks triggered a mass effort to combat terrorism. For example, Congress passed the authorization for the use of military force, which resulted in increased tensions in the Middle East.
Although created as a tactic to keep the U.S. safe, the authorization contributed to more international conflict than ever before.
Due to the attack, several conspiracies have surfaced, the largest of these being that the attack was government-operated. From the pictures and video footage, several officials have even announced that they do not believe that the passenger aircraft could have caused the damage.
One thing that helped the conspiracies grow was a series of videos called Loose Change. In these videos, many of the popular conspiracies regarding 9/11 were discussed. In Loose Change, the underlying message that the films state is that the damage that the Pentagon suffered could not have been caused solely by Flight 77, and that the fires in the Twin Towers could not have been the only reason for the Twin Towers to collapse. Many truthers, or people who believe in the conspiracies, think that explosives had to have been used to cause all the destruction. They also believe that there was actually no plane at all, and that there was just explosives planted by our own government which caused the destruction of the Pentagon.
They believe that our government did this and able to have people fear terrorism, which would cause people to rely on the government for help and support more, and therefore that the government would be trusted.
On May 1st, 2011, the leader of al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, was killed by American forces near his compound outside of Islamabad. After he eluded capture for almost 10 years after the attack, he had been on the FBI's most wanted list for over a decade.
The memorial started construction in 2006 and officially opened on September 11, 2008. It was created in hopes to preserve the victims' memory and as a symbol of the impact. Each of these benches represents a life that was lost here at the Pentagon on that day. 58 passengers on board, 4 flight attendants, 2 pilots, and 112 employees of the Pentagon lost their lives.
Every day at 9:37 a.m., the water flowing through each stone is shut off in memoriam of the attack.
We claim this ground in remembrance of the events of September 11, 2001, to honor the 184 people whose lives were lost, their families, and all those who sacrificed that we may live in freedom.